So I believe we got Coach Kenny Gajewski on right now, and Coach, appreciate you joining us.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We just mentioned it was a busy weekend as a whole for Oklahoma State athletics, but for you specifically, this has been a pretty it's always busy with recruiting, but this has been a pretty busy offseason for you, even outside of getting the next class together.
Yeah, no, it's this is really for people that aren't kind of close to what our schedules are like. This is actually the busiest time of year for our coaches, at least for softball. We're recruiting. This is our main recruiting time, and so we're gone a ton. Currently driving to Colorado now, so got about 2 hours left. So I'm hopeful that I don't lose you guys at some point. But driving down the highway now and going to one of the biggest recruiting tournaments for us all summer long. There's probably about 600 or 700 teams in this tournament, and we're just out chasing and going. But it's what it's all about.
Well, speaking of the coaching staff, let's start with that. The addition of a former head coach coming in to be your pitching coach. How huge of an opportunity was that for you to be able to bring in a talented coach like the former Tulsa coach to a position that you can really bolster right away?
Well, I think it was as we look at, as I look at the program, and it's hard. Growth is hard. Tough decisions have to be made, and I've just felt like I needed to get Jeff Cottrell into the hitting role, which is where he is really, really good. Pitching is in his background, but it's not his main thing. And so as well as we pitched the last couple of years, I think that Jeff and I both knew that I needed to get him out of that role and get a bona fide pitching coach in here. But I didn't want to just bring in anyone here. It had to be somebody that we felt like could really make this program grow. I approached John when the season ended, and I was pleasantly surprised that he was interested. And we started talking, and were able to come to an agreement. And adding John, the guy that's been a head coach for 14 years, he's going to be able to help me in that role. Most importantly, I think he's going to be able to bring experience to our pitching staff and the kids that are coming in that we haven't had here. And it's going to be exciting. And we all know that he's been a thorn in our side. He's been a thorn in about everybody's side that they play. You can just check out his record and what they've done at Tulsa. So I just felt like it was the right move at the right time. And with that comes some tough moves and tough decisions. But it's just something that I felt like we needed here, and we had to go with.
Coach, you talk about the group that he's going to be taking over. Now, you had Kerry Eberle, the ACC Pitcher of the Year, on the transfer side of things. But this is, it seems like you had that to Simonek, and you expect maybe the next step this offseason for a couple of other players as well. And you got Kelly Maxwell coming off the red shirt and a couple top 100 recruits coming in. Is this the deepest you feel that your pitching staff's ever been?
Well, I think it's in pretty good shape. We've got still some kids with some unproven credentials at this point at this level here. But I think when you add Kerry with Logan, Logan is obviously a kid that I think will benefit the very most from John. I think she will be phenomenal under John. So I think that's going to be a huge pickup for her. When you look at Kelly Maxwell and Gabby Sprang, Gabby, is a kid that's pitched at this level, didn't get a lot of opportunity this past year because of what Sam Shao did and what she brought in. But it's a big year for Gabby. She needs to really continue to improve and get confidence. I think for her, it's all it is. She has the stuff. She has the best stuff of anybody on our team when her confidence is good. But right now, her confidence just hasn't been where it's got to be to pitch at this level. So I'm hopeful that John can help her there, and that Gabby's willing and makes herself vulnerable like you've got to do at this level to improve. So, with Gabby and Kelly, and then we're bringing, we've got a freshman who comes in, and Maddie Boyd, who's a big 6'2" right-hander. We may have the tallest pitching staff in the country with Maddie Boyd at 6'2", and Gabby's a 6'1", and Carrie's all of 6'1", and Kelly's not a tiny kid at all, but probably at 5'8", 5'9", she looks like a little runt kind of running around them. So, and then Logan's a big, long kid. So this is going to be an exciting group. I look forward to this. We've got to really grow. We've got to really improve. We're going to do that by playing another great fall schedule, playing the likes of North Texas, Arkansas, Tulsa, Wichita State, trying to play down in Houston as well. We've got a kind of a semi-agreement there to play hopefully like an LSU or something like that. So we're trying to play the best schedule that we can play in the fall to test these arms and to see what they're all about.
Obviously, this last season, you tried to go with Simonik as a starter. Then you eventually realized what we need is sticker with a keeper as a bullpen option. Is there hope with John coming in of developing her into a starting role eventually, or do you want to kind of stick with her as that relief option?
Well, I'm going to hold out hope that we can still start her. And I think we can. I think he's going to be able to put the fine-tuning on her that maybe we struggled with as a starter. Now, I think out of the bullpen, we had the right mentality, but as a starter, we didn't. So I'm very hopeful. We've already talked to John a bunch about that, and so I know he's putting his mind to general work and watching stuff on her, and he's obviously seen her. He recruited her out of high school, so he knows a lot about her. So I think we'll get her to that role. That's our goal, at this point. I mean, Carrie and her would be the two most likely kids to start at this point. But, like I told Carrie, I just sat down with Carrie and her parents again just last night. She got moved in, and I told her the same thing. I said, hey, I know you've had tremendous success, but like we told you when you came here on your trip, like I told Sam Shaw when she came here on her trip, you got to earn everything that you get here. So you're going to have to come in here and earn that. You got to earn the respect of your teammates and coaches, and just do that by working hard, and everything will fall into place. So, I would think that right now, from the outside looking in, it makes sense to think that those two would be the starters coming back. They would have the majority of innings, but like I'll tell Kelly and Gabby and Maddie, hey, you get a chance to earn those innings every day here. And so all you got to do is work and perform and just continue to get better each day. And if they do that, I think it'll make it hard on us.
Coach, you talk about having to earn everything, and I think it would be easy for people to look at last season's team and say, yeah, you're losing some key pieces with Maddie Sue and Riley and Sam Shaw and all that good stuff. But some would say, well, you got a lot of the starting crew returning, but it seems like with the strong recruiting class coming in, a few transfers added here and there, that it's going to be competitive. And is it the case that you're trying to bring in just the right kind of kids that want to compete every single day, and you want those freshmen that are willing to kind of nip at the heels of the upperclassmen? Is that kind of what you've been recruiting to?
I think so. I mean, we want the right kids, the right families. We want kids that understand that every day is a fight. Every day is a competition. That's one of the things that we're going to continue to kind of breed here. With the addition of Haley Busby, who's a bona fide middle of the order hitter so far in her career at Virginia. We had her. I think we have two freshmen that I think right now have the best chance to play right away, and that would be Carly Petty and Macy Kinconen. Petty's a kid that I think could be at the top of our order. Kinconen is a kid that's kind of, I don't know where she fits yet. She's a left-handed first baseman, outfielder, and will be and already is the fastest kid on our team, faster than Naomi or Chelsea. So you got to think that she's going to find a way in that lineup too, and they both play for two of the best travel ball teams in the country. So they're already playing against the best competition and having those type of results now. So and then we got some others that I think will play too. There's always kids on every team that you don't think, hey, this kid it may take 5-6 months, maybe a year before it clicks, and there's kids that always surpass that. So we have some others that may surpass that, but those are the two with Busby that I think make the most sense to think right now would have the best chance to kind of come in and play. And then you add Richburg another year, a year older, and you add Pennington a year older, and Naomi a year older, and Factor a year older, and Mackenzie Thomas and Raquel. I mean, in Chelsea. I mean, this is a pretty good team who's coming back, and even though we lose the likes of Lynch's and Montgomery's and Chow's and Bayless's, I think we can be just as good. We just gotta come together as a group and just continue to improve.
You mentioned Busby, and obviously last year's team was very impacted by the transfers, and that's kind of the hope going into this year as well. But how cautious do you have to be, and how different is it from getting in a high schooler as opposed to maybe a 1 year player, and making sure that you're not alienating those girls who are spending 3 to 4 years here in Stillwater, but also trying to bolster maybe some positions that are needed by bringing in a transfer?
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about Busby is we get her for 2 years, and I think as you look at like the Shows and the Everleys, when you get those kids for 1 year, you got to make sure that they're the right kids. You got to make sure that your teammates that are already here, kids in the program now, that they get to meet them and kind of give me the nod of approval. And I feel like we've got that with all these kids. I can see the way they interact, and either they gel or they don't gel. And so far, I feel like the kids we have that are coming in are really gelling. They're already here in the summertime, working out with Coach West, and I've been hearing great things about it. So I got to take their word that everything is going well.
I gotta ask you. You mentioned all the young players coming back, and the fact that you have such a large young core that got the opportunity of going to the College World Series. How impactful can that be on a program? Because, for the next, it's not like 1 year that this is going to be a layover, this experience within the program. This is going to be several years, several groups of freshmen that will get to play with players who played in the College World Series and know what it takes to get to that level.
Well, I think it's what it's all about. The fact of the matter is we got to OKC with a fairly young team, to be honest. I mean, yeah, we had some seniors that we lost, but we had 4, 5, 6 kids that played a bunch in that thing that are going to be here for 2 and 3 more years. So this is what this is all about. This is when I told Kelly Maxwell about the possibility of redshirting, when she was trying to make that choice, I was like, hey, we're going to get to OKC, and you're going to get 4 more years to do it again. And I want you to be able to pitch in those, not just watch. And so these are the things that we talked about. They came true because of these kids' hard work, and any experience in the postseason going to Florida State was a huge deal, and winning there. So just like you said, the experience that these kids get when they get back into practice, we feel like we've got a lot of stuff that we can practice to and practice for, and go back to experience, go back to really poor at-bats and go back to really good at-bats and learn and coach to those moments that they were in, not moments that they were hoping to be in, but moments that they were actually in. And when you're in those moments, there's crazy growth, because I can tell you this, there is no comfort in the batter's box in OKC. There is no comfort in the pitching circle at OKC. There is no comfort in the dirt on the outfield grass. It's an uncomfortable place. It's what you dream of, but until you've gone multiple times, there's zero comfort. And we talk about growth. The only way that you grow is to be out of your comfort zone. And I think that, except for maybe Chow, and so can you hear me?
Nope. Yeah, we got you back.
Okay. So I think when you're out of that comfort zone, that's when you have this tremendous growth. So I feel like it's going to really help us. Time will tell, but I'm already excited to get back to work with this new team.
I didn't get the opportunity to ask you down in Oklahoma City, but I'm curious, in all your coaching career, have you seen as an impactful defensive play from a freshman as you saw that home run rob by Factor, considering the magnitude of the atmosphere, the magnitude of the time of the game, that it kept your team close in a match to be able to come up with a play like that home run rob?
Yeah, I can't say that I have. That was a crazy play by Shy, and it's the crazy thing is that kid doesn't never get excited and just kind of makes her plays. And I kind of saw a glimpse of her like being excited during that play or after. And, this is who she is. She's just steady Eddie. She's not fast, but she runs down every ball. She's just a kid that's a dream to coach. And, man, it was a play that we'll remember forever.
Last question I got to ask, because even though she didn't get to play much down there, she had just as much airtime as much airtime as you, Raquel Dominguez. How special of a character is that to have that type of personality to maybe loosen things up at times for this